How can communication in a general sense build or tear down your marriage?
So communication is the number one metric on how healthy or unhealthy your marriage is. If it's good, your marriage is healthy. If it's poor, your marriage is unhealthy. It is the best way to see how you're doing, the way you speak to that other person.
The way you speak.
Yeah.
Yes.
Not just the material.
Because you can talk a lot. Just when you have a healthy relationship.
Right. No, that's very true.
Yeah.
That's very true. And a lot of people do talk a lot over each other or better yet, past each other.
Yeah.
Where you're addressing something and someone that's not the person sitting in front of you. Because if you were, you'd speak differently.
Yes.
If they were that person that you actually loved and cared about, like you purported to do, you would speak differently to them.
Yeah.
But you have made up in your mind, this isn't an unhealthy, poor communication marriage. You have made up an avatar of your husband and you're speaking to that. You're not speaking to the actual person in the room that you're present with.
Yeah.
You're speaking to this avatar that you've created that never does the dishes and that is always getting home too late and that fill in the blank.
Yeah.
That's who you're speaking to. And that's why you're able to justify in your mind that the way I'm speaking to them is okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No,
I love the topic of communication,
good.
but I just want to get back to what your actual question is.
Yeah. No, that's on it. How can communication build or tear down your marriage?
Yeah. But let's go to the positive. That was the negative of what poor communication can do. And I don't even think I answered that fully. So maybe we can
There's so
come
much
back
to say.
Yeah. In good communication, you can transform your spouse into the person that you actually desire them to be for your relationship, for both of you.
Yeah, you have to explain what.
So I really think that there's ways in which you can speak to, especially as a man, I know that words of affirmation are a huge love language for men. And if you don't know what the love languages are, Gary Chapman is the guy that wrote that, 5 Love Languages. Good book, read it. It's not gospel, but it's good stuff. In that, words of affirmation is one of the ways that people receive love. And a big portion of men receive love through words of affirmation.
Is that because that's like respectful?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so respect is super important to men. It's important to a lot of people, everyone. But especially men are able to, I think, receive signals of disrespect very easily. Like they're able to really feel and receive ways in which, like through speech or body language or, just situational awareness, that they're being disrespected in this situation or by this person.
Yeah.
Men are very sensitive to that. So words of affirmation are a huge way that in a marriage relationship, you could really build up your husband, because once their love tank is full, that's what the 5 love languages talks about, is once that love tank is full, they're able to give love and they're able to give all of the things that you're actually desiring in your relationship so much more easily because all of their needs are met. All of their love needs are met. Now, they'll never talk in those
terms,
those lovey-dovey ways, but you can talk in words of affirmation. That sounds pretty cool. That sounds pretty manly.
Yeah.
Words of affirmation.
Said like that.
Affirmative. But that's one example of a way in which communication, so words of affirmation are just ways in which that you can appreciate and you can communicate value that you have towards your husband.
Yes.
I really value this about you. I really appreciate this thing that you do. I really, it's very easy.
Right.
Hey, thanks for going to work every day. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
You do so much for this family. It's awesome. Makes me feel good. Makes our kids happy. That's building your husband up, and it will transform them as a person.
Yeah. Yeah.
It won't just make them feel good. It'll transform them as a person because they'll want to do better in every aspect of their lives.
And that's true for women too.
Yeah.
I think that's true for everybody.
Yeah, I think if you communicate in a way that is caring, that is what is something communication-wise that would mean a lot to you?
I think for women, just the ability to to know that your husband listens to you and that they care for you. So communication that shows that they actually care. Communication in action.
Right.
To show that they care. So listening, I guess girls are a little more complicated. Listening, communicating that you care, and showing that
girls
you care.
Girls are more complicated? What?
Stop it.
I'm sorry, what were the three again? Listening, caring.
And communicating that you care, but also then following that with showing that you care.
Okay. So more of the action communication, more of like the visual representations of communication.
And I think
not just words, but actions that communicate care.
Both words and action, they're both important. Yeah.
Right.
And part of that communicating is the listening portion.
Okay.
Which I think is important for both parties, which is really, I know we've talked about that before, but actually listening to know the other person's heart.
Right. Listening is one to kind of focus on just for a sec, because it is also a metric that you can look at. If a person is really able to listen to their spouse, there is more of a value placed on their words. So you're showing value greatly by listening to your spouse.
Yeah.
So in an unhealthy marriage, you don't care what they have to say.
Yeah, that's true.
Honestly, you probably don't even want to hear what they have to say.
That is a good metric to kind of take task.
But in a healthy marriage, you're so interested in what they have to say because of the value that you've placed on them as a person. Like, people that I love, I really want to know what they think.
Right.
I really want to know their heart. I want to know their dreams. I want to know their interests. I want to know so much about them. And I find it's actually really hard for people to get to a point where they're expressing those things.
Yeah.
So if you can get there in a marriage relationship, you're on a really good path
to
health.